Back again on the Sports Zone. I am Mike Aglialoro. Once again, thanks to everyone who subscribed to the YouTube channel MikeAgs121. Don't forget to subscribe under the video if you haven't done so. And don't forget to check out the website thisissportszone.com for more. So we're back with week 4 of Sit-'em Stardom after last week's 6-3. We are now 13-13 for the young season. So it's time to try to get over the 500 hump for more than 1 week. This week, we're going to look at some of the cheaper priced options. We're going to start at the quarterback position with the rookie Teddy Bridgewater, getting his first career start this week with Matt Castle having broken bones in his foot against the Atlanta Falcons. Now, he will be at home, which is good, but Atlanta will be a force to be reckoned with throughout the season. And for a Minnesota team that really doesn't have a good offensive line, doesn't have a tough defense, this is going to be a test for Teddy Bridgewater right off the bat. I'm predicting he's going to be able to handle it fairly well. I'm looking something in the neighborhood of 250 yards, 2 to 3 touchdowns. You are going to have to deal with a couple of picks. But for 5,900, if you want to overload on the running backs and the wide receivers and maybe get that right this week, take Teddy Bridgewater on the cheap, and I think it will really make you look smart when everything is said and done. Another guy who I think will make you look smart for taking him is Tony Romo of the Dallas Cowboys, priced at 7,500, and he's got a home matchup against the New Orleans Saints. You know, basically all the skill players are in play when you set your FanDuel lineups this weekend, and it goes for Tony Romo as well, who finally got over 200 passing yards in one game last week, finally threw 2 touchdowns in a game last week for the first time this season. And I look for him to build on that. I'm looking something, if he doesn't have over 300 yards this week and 3 touchdowns, it's going to be a disappointment. Now, you are going to have to deal with 2 interceptions that'll probably come in the first half and a DeMarco Murray fumble if you start him this week, simply because that's the way things have been going for them. But I do look for them to have a strong second half, and Romo is going to have an over 300-yard passing week this week. Book that. Moving to the running back position, we're going to go with 2 cheaper options. We're going to go with Donald Brown of the San Diego Chargers and Darren McFadden of the Oakland Raiders. Now, Donald Brown is now the starter in San Diego with Ryan Matthews out with a sprained MCL and with Danny Woodhead just put on the IR this week. Look for Donald Brown to be the workhorse back of San Diego, who has a golden matchup at home against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I look for him to eclipse over 70 all-purpose yards and a touchdown. As far as Darren McFadden goes, he hasn't looked that great so far. He got about 58 rushing yards last week with Maurice Jones-Drew sidelined. And if Jones-Drew is sidelined yet again, or even limited, with a matchup against the defense that is giving up the second most fantasy points to running backs in the Miami Dolphins, you got to start McFadden if you're looking to overload on wide receivers or take Jimmy Graham going against the Cowboys at tight end. So you're going to want to look at either Brown or Run DMC. And we're going to move to the wide receiver position. We will go with Keenan Allen of the San Diego Chargers, Michael Crabtree of the San Francisco 49ers, and Brandon Cooks of the New Orleans Saints. Keenan Allen, like we said with Brown, he's got a gold matchup against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he is a really good buy low option at this point. He hasn't looked very good so far, but once again, golden matchup. If you can trade for him in your yearly leagues, go right ahead, especially if you're in a keeper league. As far as Crabtree goes, we had him on the list in week 1, didn't really do too much, but he's produced over 15 fantasy points each of the last 2 weeks, and now San Francisco welcomes the Philadelphia Eagles, who gave up over 400 passing yards to Kirk Cousins last week. Look for Crabtree to capitalize in the Jeremy Maclin fashion this week. With Brandon Cooks, like we said already, every New Orleans Saint and Dallas Cowboys skill position player is in play when you're setting your FanDuel lineups this week. And at 6,200, Brandon Cooks will be a steal this week. Moving on to the tight end position, going back to the Cowboy New Orleans Saints game, Jimmy Graham should be an obvious one, but if you want a cheaper option, go with Jason Witten. Another guy hasn't eclipsed 10 fantasy points a game in any of his first 3 games this year, but with a dream matchup against the Saints' weak defense, look for Witten to finally get involved in there. I look for over 80 passing yards and at least 1 score from Tony Romo. Lastly, we'll look at the special performances this week, and I got two of them, one running back, one wide receiver. At running back, you want LeGarrette Blount of the Pittsburgh Steelers going against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And at wide receiver, you want Kenny Stills going back to the Saints game against the Cowboys at wide receiver. Both priced at $4,600 on FanDuel.com. I look for both of them to eclipse double digits. In Blount's case, the Buccaneers defense won't be as terrible as it was against the Falcons, but it will still be bad enough for Blount to get at least one goal line score in there while hitting at least 50 rushing yards. For Kenny Stills, expect one long touchdown pass from Drew Brees. I predict at least 80 receiving yards and one long score, like I said. So to recap, at quarterback, you want to go with Teddy Bridgewater and Tony Romo. At running back, you want to go with Donald Brown and Darren McFadden. At wide receiver, you want to go with Michael Crabtree, Keenan Allen, and Brandon Cooks. And at tight end, you go with Jason Witten. The special performances this week being LeGarrette Blount of the Pittsburgh Steelers and Kenny Stills of the Saints. Once again, thanks to everyone who subscribed to the YouTube channel, MikeAgs121. Check us out on This Is SportsZone for more. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at WeAreSportsZone. Send us any questions and comments you may have. Thanks to everyone for watching. For This Is SportsZone, I am Mike Aglialoro. We will see you next time, folks.